You have arrived. This is the place that you've been looking for. This is The Great Experience by JohnBat426 here on YouTube. So glad you guys have been tuning in and watching these videos. I'm so glad that this channel is growing because you have periods where you get subscribers on a weekly basis. Now, I'm talking about for me as a new YouTuber. Okay. And then there are spells where you don't have subscribers anywhere in sight. Even with their Sword of Omens up. Give me sight beyond sight! And still no subscribers. But it's always great when one new subscriber comes on. Because it's like, okay, so the message is getting out. People are tuning in. And guess what? It's not really about you. It's about your content, what you're putting out. If a lot of people are watching a lot of content about something, hey, maybe they like these other guys better. The thing is, we have to find our niche, N-I-C-H-E, a great word for The Great Experience by JohnBat426 here on YouTube. We have to find what works for us. And I am content to let that process take as long as it needs, as long as the right things happen, okay? I don't know where that came from, but if you like the videos that you've seen thus far, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. Share these videos with other people that you know that like comic book related stuff as much as you do. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications all. So the next time a new video is dropped, you'll know about it second. I'll know about it first. One breath champ. All right. So today, DC news. I have my Flash shirt on that I got from Walmart. But anyway, still Flash. Still represents the DC. And Flash is going to be a major character in the DCEU with the Flash movie coming June 16th. Who knows what's going to happen with the Flash when the new DCU, spearheaded by James Gunn and Peter Safran, hits officially in 2024. That's when Creature Commandos and the Waller series comes out. And the first movie for the DCU will be Superman Legacy, which comes out in 2025 on July 11th, okay? But we are still sort of in this valley of the DCEU. You know, it's all coming to an end this year with Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, the Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2. And I want to see a trailer for Blue Beetle. I want to see some set photos. I want to see some concept art. I want to know what's going on with Blue Beetle. All right? Because Blue Beetle is new. You know what I mean? Like, we've heard of the Flash. Captain Marvel's been around since it was Fawcett Comics. That's why Captain Marvel, who's integrated into DC Comics, is from Fawcett City as a tribute to Fawcett Comics. All right? And of course, Aquaman we've heard of, but Blue Beetle is still new to mainstream America. I believe the character debuted in 2006. So he's only, what, 17 years old? I definitely want to see an awesome movie about Blue Beetle. But this is about Shazam! Star Zachary Levi. And it says, will Shazam survive the DCU reboot? Zach Levi Talks Shazam, Fury of the Gods. And we're going to watch this interview. It's comicbook.com on YouTube. Okay, usually I read their articles off of the internet. But the website is comicbook.com, and we are doing Shazam, Fury of the Gods in 3, 2, 1. Go.
Zach, congrats. This movie's great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
that.
us, man.
Thank you.
Of course.
I love having you guys out for the junkets.
Man, I can't wait to see it again. So I want to ask you a fun question to start with. If you could say the magic word Shazam and you could turn into anybody ever, fictitious or real, who would you want to turn into?
I don't know. I mean, it would be pretty cool just to turn into Shazam, to be perfectly honest. Because I'm trying to think of like who beats that as far as
I like him better with facial hair
powers and
gray hair
to do whatever it is I want.
He looks like a great superhero.
I don't know. I honestly I don't often think about wanting to be someone else, and I think maybe that's a lot of the work that I've been doing in therapy of just trying to own me and value me. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm just going to stick to the character that I would turn into.
Well, I'll be honest, that perfectly leads into my next question for you. Your book, Radical Love, you came out with last year, and I love how honest you are about this stuff and open you are about this stuff. And this movie itself, I'm curious, do you find any reflections in what Billy is going through as Shazam, within your own life?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the beginning of the movie starts with him on, presumably a psychiatrist or a therapist's couch. Turns out it's a pediatrician.
Right, we saw that in the trailer,
whatever.
the first trailer.
But that, it really is highlighting this imposter syndrome. in him. But we all have that. And I've had a lot of that in my life. And I still have these bouts of it where I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And do people even like me or what I'm doing? And all these things. So I think that's something that's very relatable, not just to me, but to a lot of folks. And ultimately him trying to, figure out how to be the best him that he can be the best leader, be the best son, the best brother, keeping the family together because he's afraid he's going to lose it. And I definitely can relate to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, amen. It works in the story, and I'm glad it's working for you in your life now.
Yeah.
In a big comic book movie now, in these established universes, it's inevitable as an audience member to be like, well, wouldn't the other superheroes come help with this? Happens in Marvel, happens in DC, happens in Star Wars, every franchise. I love to hear when you're making a film that has like a naturally apocalyptic type stakes at some point. Do you have conversations like, hey, shouldn't somebody come? Like, how do you guys think about those details?
What do you mean?
Like, it's like, well, Philadelphia is under a bubble. Should Superman show up here to help Shazam?
Oh.
Do you think about, like, do you have conversations like, where are the other guys?
Sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, most all that stuff is way above my pay grade.
I know.
But yeah, I'm just showing up and
But it only makes sense, though.
doing the
It's
best
like,
I can to bring this character to life.
Philadelphia's just about to be destroyed by the Daughters of Atlas.
Knowing that there are larger
Wonder Woman's in Themyscira or London
behind the scenes.
working on a sculpture.
And, but certainly, I mean, listen, I'm a comic book
Shazam's
nerd.
problem.
I always have been since I was a little kid.
Aquaman in
Watched all
Atlantis.
of the superhero movies,
Dude, that's the surface.
so I'm always asking questions like that. Wait a minute, if this is going on, where are these other characters? But I think on some level, you've got to practice some suspension of disbelief. Because you're already watching a bunch of superheroes.
It's a Shazam movie.
It's a Shazam movie.
No, I'm with you.
Exactly.
I'm just curious what those conversations are.
Yeah, totally.
So now, I want Shazam 3, dude. I love the first Shazam movie. I thought this movie was great.
Say Shazam 3.
When do those conversations start? I know you guys, there's the reset coming, as they call it. But when do you get to start talking about that?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of a rolling reset, if you will. I mean, it's like, there was a lot of things that were inherited that were already kind of, there was, well before Peter and James even got to the positions they're in right now, there were lots of conversations going on about what's going to move forward and what's not, and how do we, I mean, I'm a very, way over here as a part of the we, but how do the powers that be kind of figure out how to chop this up and, try to make it work moving forward. And I really do, listen, I've known Peter now for years because he's my producer on Shazam, and I've known James Gunn for even more years because we have mutual friends and we've played game nights together in LA, and I've been to a Christmas party of his, and almost was Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, and James even...
I didn't know that.
Like, stumped for me, fought for me when Peter asked him about me, about, hey, what do you think, Zach? Because we're thinking about him for Shazam. And James was like, yes, go get that guy. Like, he could really go crush that. So I feel bullish. I feel good that there's a future for Shazam. Even if they have to rejigger the role and it's another actor or whatever, the character is great. And the character needs to keep going. But other than that, I don't know I don't know how it's all going to come together. I'm just, it's like taking it a day at a time, trusting a day at a time. I
hope I remember this point.
In front of the other, and just trying to continue to work on me to be the best me while I'm doing it.
I love, hey man, I don't know if they still have Shazam without you. I hope it keeps going. I want Shazam.
Well, thanks, man. I want to do it too.
I hope so.
It's way too much fun.
Thank you, dude. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Sorry. I was jamming, as we say. But there were a couple of points that I was thinking about. I hope I remember both of them here. So I'll go backwards. I'll go from the one I remember the most recently, and hopefully I'll snag that other point. It was a point I was going to make. Whether it's a good point or a bad point, who knows? That's for you to decide. But Zachary Levi is just an actor. Henry Cavill is just an actor. Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, actors and actress. And being an actor does not automatically make you an activist. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if Ben Affleck says, okay, somebody's going to recast the role of Batman, he really shouldn't be grabbing the picket signs or have the A-frames on his body going, no, Judgment Day. There's no Batman without Ben Affleck, So they really can't fight as hard because somebody can call them tomorrow with the opportunity of a lifetime as an actor. A dramatic film may call and say, yo, Zachary Levi or Ben Affleck or the people that I've mentioned, Ezra Miller. There may be something on the table that would be ideal for them. So as actors, their job is to act, you know? Now, of course, you can sort of put your foot down when you're in the middle of a role. If you're in the middle of shooting something or filming, or I'm pretty sure an actor can go to his director and go, now, I know he's supposed to say this, but I think it would come across better if he said that. That's probably the extent of their power. You know what I mean? I understand that Christopher Plummer, and the late Christopher Plummer, you know, rest in peace, he played, I can't remember his name in The Sound of Music. I don't believe that I can't remember his name. But he was the father in The Sound of Music. He also played General Chang in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. He was told from a Klingon linguist what to be or not to be is in the proper Klingon. And it was something really complicated and convoluted. And Christopher Plummer was like, no. No, that doesn't sound right. So that's when he came up with tak ba, tak be. You know, because Christopher Plummer is a classic Shakespearean actor in theater. And, you know, Shakespeare said to be or not to be. Okay. So I think that's the extent of the power that an actor has. As long as I'm in the role currently and I'm filming something or the script is in development, I think that's all they can say. Unfortunately, and I love the way Zachary Levi answered that question. He says, I don't know what's going to happen. He said, but as long as the character of Shazam continues, he should continue. All right. Again, I'm trying to think of my second point. I think Zachary Levi looks great. Just as a person. I think when he shaves his facial hair and is like dyed that dark brown or the black color, that's when it looks a little wanky. You know what I mean? But like if he showed up as Shazam looking like that, I mean, I'm sure a couple of geeks would be like, hey, he doesn't age. He's immortal. He's the most powerful mortal. He would look fantastic as Shazam with gray hair and facial hair. Okay, I think I thought of the second point. I understand that Zachary Levi really started pumping iron and got into shape for the role of Shazam. And I would really like to see how that pays off in the film. Oh, another point that came to me while I'm saying this. Yay, I love recall. But I really wish that Shazam would be going up against a physical antagonist. Now, I'm pretty sure he's going to be hitting things and punching things, but I don't really know how it would fare to see Zachary Levi punching out Lucy Liu or Helen Mirren. I would have loved to see Shazam flex his muscles and really have an epic battle with like a Black Adam character or any of his other, and I'm not really that familiar with Captain Marvel's Rogues Gallery, but if Black Adam were to show up in this, I think that would be like awesome. Okay. The problem is, if The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Black Adam were to show up in this film, Zachary Levi just doesn't have the face or like the presence as Shazam to be thought of as somebody that can hold his own against Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's Black Adam. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? It's like Zachary Levi versus The Rock. Facially, it just doesn't work because Zachary Levi, he looks like a comic actor. He looks like a humorous type actor. I've never seen the show Chuck, so I don't really know what his acting chops are. But just based on the first Shazam and the trailers for the second one, he's a little too lighthearted to be taken like serious to go up against somebody like The Rock. Like he just doesn't have the I hope this doesn't sound like I'm body shaming. He just doesn't have the contours of his face to say, hey, I can beat The Rock as the Black Adam. I don't know if anybody would buy that. All right. So it's a lot going on with this. And as far as Shazam goes, this is tough because Zachary Levi obviously is committed to the role of Shazam. But if you're rebooting a universe, I think you have to start from the ground up. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to raise a building, you don't save one floor. You raise the entire building and you build a whole new one from the ground up. And I think that's what the DCU reboot should do. I mean, I understand they're talking about, Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is going to be as Wonder Woman in the future. I don't know how that'll work. All right. Now, some things are just gold. I mean, obviously, Peacemaker starring John Cena. John Cena has to continue as Peacemaker if you're going to keep Peacemaker. And it's weird because that contradicts everything that I just said. But hey, I'm only an audience member, a nuanced audience member. I like the comic books. I'm not general audience. But that's what we people are. We humans. We like what we like. We dislike what we dislike. All right. So this has been The Great Expanse by John Bat 426. What did you guys think of this interview? I thought it was a great interview by Zachary Levi. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. Write a dissertation in the comments if you need to. David Brent, please let them know where the comments go. Down there, that's where they go. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell an enemy, tell an acquaintance. Tell somebody that's neutral in your long-standing warfare with other people. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully you don't have any long-standing wars with people. But let's get The Great Expanse by John Bat 426. Expanding. It's in the name.